Names, locations, and organizations have been changed for personal reasons. Watch the video until the end to learn the scammer's tricks and avoid becoming a victim. My name is Margaret Allen. I'm 60 years old, retired, and living a quiet life in Missouri. I've worked hard all my life, raised 2 kids, lost my husband to cancer 10 years ago, and finally started receiving my well-earned pension last year. It wasn't much, but it was enough. Between Social Security and my small pension, I could keep the lights on, buy groceries, and maybe treat myself to a slice of pie every Sunday after church. I wasn't tech-savvy, but I knew how to check my bank balance online and read emails. I still used a flip phone up until last year when my daughter practically forced me to get a smartphone. "It's for emergencies, Mom," she'd said. I eventually gave in. I tried to learn, but honestly, most of it confused me. Text messages, apps, notifications, it was overwhelming. I just wanted to talk on the phone. It started with a call on a Tuesday morning. The number looked familiar. It had a 1 to 800 prefix, just like the one on my Social Security paperwork. I was sipping coffee and watching birds outside when the phone buzzed. I answered it. "Hello, is this Mrs. Margaret Allen?" a calm, professional voice asked. "Yes, speaking. This is Andrew with the Department of Social Services. We're calling to verify some information due to recent updates in our system." He sounded official, polite, not pushy or aggressive. That put me at ease. "Have I done something wrong?" I asked, instantly nervous. "Oh, not at all, ma'am. This is a standard verification process. There has been an increase in fraudulent activity targeting retirees, and we want to make sure your information is secure." I remember nodding to myself, grateful that someone was looking out for people like me. He continued, "Can you please confirm your full name and the last 4 digits of your Social Security number?" I hesitated. "Is this really from the Department of Social Services?" He replied smoothly, "You can call the number on your last SSA letter if you'd like to confirm. But I assure you, this is routine. We're reaching out to many seniors this week." That should have been my red flag. But I didn't call. I didn't want to be a bother or feel like I was overreacting. So I gave it to him. "Just the last 4 digits. "Perfect," he said. "Now, for additional verification, could you confirm your current address and phone number?" I gave those too. It didn't feel like much, just things that were probably already on file. Then came the real trap. He told me that, due to a suspicious claim filed under my name, my pension payments might be temporarily frozen unless I confirmed my account details so they could manually validate my identity. My stomach sank. The idea of losing those payments terrified me. That money was how I survived. "Just your routing and account number," he added calmly. "We'll make sure your payments aren't interrupted." And like a fool, I gave them. The call ended with a polite, "Thank you for your time, Mrs. Allen. You'll receive a confirmation letter in the mail shortly." I remember sitting there, holding the phone in my lap, feeling like I had just finished a job interview. But as the morning faded into the afternoon, a strange weight settled on my chest. Something wasn't right. Why didn't he give me a callback number? Why didn't I confirm it with my daughter or call Social Security directly? I logged into my bank account that evening, just to double-check. My heart dropped. There were 3 new transactions I didn't recognize. One for $1,200, another for $850, and a pending one for $2,100. All gone. Just like that. I froze. I stared at the screen, thinking maybe I was reading it wrong. Maybe it was a glitch. But no. The money I had counted on for rent, for food, for bills was leaving my account before my eyes. I grabbed the phone and dialed the number on the back of my bank card. My fingers were shaking. A woman answered after a few minutes on hold. I barely managed to speak through the lump in my throat. "I think someone's stolen from my account," I said, voice trembling. She asked me a few questions for verification, and then silence as she reviewed my account. "Yes, ma'am, I do see 3 suspicious transactions. It appears the funds were sent via wire transfer to an external account." I remember whispering, "But I didn't authorize anything." "I understand, ma'am. Unfortunately, These transfers are already processing. We'll open a fraud case, but I need to inform you that wire transfers are very hard to reverse, especially once they leave the country. Leave the country? What country? She wouldn't say. All she could tell me was that the case had been filed and someone would be in touch within 7 to 10 business days. I hung up and just sat in silence. My pension, my safety net, my peace of mind, it was gone in less than a day. I felt violated, stupid, and ashamed. The hardest part wasn't losing the money. It was picking up the phone and calling my daughter, Lisa. She answered cheerfully, "Hey, Mom. Everything all right?" My throat tightened. "Lisa, I think I've done something very foolish." Her tone shifted immediately. "What happened?" And I told her. Everything. The call from social services, the man's calm voice, how official it all sounded. I explained how he convinced me to give my bank information to prevent delays in my pension. I felt myself shrinking with every word. There was silence on the other end of the line. Then I heard her inhale sharply. "Mom, no. That wasn't real. That was a scammer. They're getting really good at this, but you should never give out that kind of info over the phone, especially not your bank details." Tears spilled down my cheeks. "I know. I should have called you first. I should have known better." But he sounded so professional, like he really was trying to help. "Mom," she said softly, "I'm not mad at you. These people are trained to manipulate. They prey on seniors exactly like this." She tried to comfort me, but I could hear the stress in her voice. I had always been the strong one, her protector. Now I was the one who needed protection. The next day, Lisa drove over and helped me report the incident. We filed a police report and called the real Social Security Administration. They were kind, but there wasn't much they could do. "This kind of scam is unfortunately very common," the SSA agent told us. "We will flag your SSN for suspicious activity, but we recommend you also place a fraud alert with the credit bureaus." So we did that too. I had no idea what Equifax, TransUnion, or Experian even were until that day. We also contacted my bank again. They froze the account and issued a new one, but the woman on the line said the same thing the first agent did. Since the transfers were authorized using your information and weren't flagged in time, it's unlikely we can recover those funds. I had nearly $4,000 stolen. Gone. My entire monthly income just vanished. And there was no guarantee I'd get any of it back. I remember asking Lisa quietly, "What am I going to do now?" She took my hand. "You'll stay with us until we sort things out. You're not alone, Mom." Moving in with Lisa wasn't easy. Not because she wasn't welcoming, she was, but because of what it represented. I had worked my whole life to be independent. I prided myself on paying my bills, living modestly, and never asking for help unless I absolutely had to. Now I was sleeping in my granddaughter's old room, surrounded by posters of boy bands and piles of plush animals. The walls were pink, and the bed creaked every time I turned. It wasn't my space. It wasn't my life. I felt like a guest in my own story. Every morning, I still got up at 6 out of habit, made coffee, and stared out the window, thinking about how quickly everything had changed. One phone call, one moment of trust in the wrong voice, and now I had to rely on my daughter just to get by. Lisa helped me apply for emergency assistance, and we submitted a claim with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. But nothing came of it. No one could find where the money had gone. It had likely been transferred through multiple foreign accounts and vanished into the digital void. I couldn't bring myself to tell my friends. I avoided their calls. What was I going to say? That I gave away my entire pension to a stranger over the phone? That I, a woman who had raised 2 kids and managed a household alone for a decade, had fallen for something so obvious? It was easier to pretend I was fine. At church, I smiled through sermons and politely declined lunch invitations. I told everyone I was just staying with Lisa for a bit to help out around the house. But inside, I felt hollow. Like part of me had been taken, not just the money, but the confidence, the pride, the belief that I could still trust myself in this world that seemed to be moving too fast. It was a Sunday like any other when I finally broke. After the service, one of the women from our prayer group, Judith, came up to me. "Margaret, we haven't seen you in weeks. How are you doing, dear?" I forced a smile. "Oh, just helping Lisa with the kids. Busy, busy." She looked me over for a moment, really looked. Then she said gently, "You don't have to pretend with me. If something's happened, I'll listen. No judgment." And just like that, the wall cracked. I found myself sitting with Judith in one of the empty pews, whispering the entire story, the phone call, the account numbers, the stolen money, the police report. By the end, I was crying into a crumpled tissue while she held my hand. When I finished, she said something I'll never forget. "Margaret, you are not stupid. You are not weak. You were targeted. These people are professionals. They don't just steal money. They steal trust, dignity, and peace. But what they can't take is your worth." Her words stayed with me long after I went home. With Judith's encouragement, I started opening up. I told a few other women in the community about what had happened. And to my surprise, more than one of them had been scammed too. One woman said she almost gave away her Medicare number to someone claiming to be from benefits verification. Another had clicked on a fake bank email and only realized it was a scam after her son intervened. We all thought we were being careful. We were just too trusting. So we decided to do something about it. Judith and I worked with our church to host a scam awareness afternoon for local seniors. A local officer came to speak. They showed us how to spot fake calls, how to report fraud, and what to do if it happens again. I even got up to speak. My hands were shaking, but I shared my story. "I'm not here to scare you," I told the small crowd. "I'm here to remind you that asking questions or being suspicious doesn't make you rude. It makes you wise." It's been almost a year since that phone call changed everything. I never got my stolen pension back. The bank closed the case after 4 months with no recovery. The police told me the scammer likely operated overseas, and even if they found a name, prosecution would be next to impossible. It hurt, but I stopped hoping for justice a long time ago. I've made peace with it in my own way. Lisa helped me get a part-time job at the local library, just shelving books, helping other seniors use the computer. It's not about the money as much as it is about rebuilding a sense of purpose. I may not be as fast or sharp as I once was, but I'm not useless. I'm not broken. Every week, I help someone set up 2-factor authentication or recognize phishing emails. Sometimes, I spot people who look just like I did, quiet, uncertain, pretending they understand when they really don't. And I sit with them. I take my time. I remind them they're not dumb for asking questions. Because that's what I needed. Moral of the story. If you're reading this and think that could never happen to me, please understand, that's exactly what I thought. Scammers don't always sound like monsters. They sound helpful, professional, reassuring. They know how to build trust, and they prey on people who were taught to be polite and cooperative. Never give your personal information, especially your social security number, banking details, or Medicare ID, over the phone unless you initiated the call and are absolutely sure who you're speaking to. Hang up. Call the official number on your paperwork. Ask someone you trust. And if you've already fallen for something like I did, please don't suffer in silence. Tell someone. Shame and silence only help the criminals. You didn't fail. You were targeted. And you still have worth. You still have time to protect others. And you can still start again. Just like I did. Thank you for watching. Please like and leave a comment. It helps the channel grow. Also, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.